Hello everyone, my name's Kayla Murray, and this presentation is about exercise and its influence on focus in the classroom. Please note that throughout the presentation you may hear the terms focus and attention used interchangeably as they were in the articles used in my research. Just to advise you that they do mean the same thing for the purpose of this presentation anyways. Introduction. The connection between body and mind is gaining more attention in research studies with respect to exercise and its effect on mental health. Studies show that exercise has had a positive effect on academic performance in children. There is also evidence that suggests that exercise has a positive effect on mental health regarding better mood states and an improved quality of life. The research question at hand here is whether students are able to focus better in class when they perform moderate exercise for a minimum of 20 minutes prior to class. And let's just take an overview of the presentation to come. So we will go through the background information on the subject and why is this important? Gaps in current knowledge in research studies. Then we will examine my proposed study design and my plans for recruiting participants, as well as measurements that will be taken, statistical issues that we may face, as well as analyzing results. There will be a section on ethical issues, as well as limitations of research, followed by the resources for this presentation. Background. There is physiological evidence to support the idea that exercise is good for the functioning of the brain and cognition. Exercise provides increased oxygen and blood flow to the brain, as well as elevates chemicals in the body such as endorphins and norepinephrine, which can also help improve attention and focus in the mind. Studies also show that regular exercise can have a positive effect on children's behavior in a classroom. This allows the students to attain a greater level of concentration and improve their ability to focus their attention on classroom material. Now, before we go any further, you might see a little excerpt at the top of the screen there beside the background. That's a summary of the title of the article that was used. It is not the full journal title. Just to let you know, in case you do want to refer at the end to what I'm speaking about. It is a summarized version, but it is also cited if you want to learn more. Anyways, so this one study took a look at exercise and children with ADHD. It showed that a 20-minute bout of moderate exercise had improved academic performance and focus in a group of elementary-age children with ADHD. The study compared two groups. One group moderately exercised for 20 minutes before the assessment, while the other group did not. The result was that the 20-minute bout of moderate to intense exercise provided positive implications for attention, inhibitory control, and aspects of neurocognitive functioning in children with ADHD. Studies linking attention span and focus to exercise have gained more attention due to the rising diagnosis of ADHD. The evidence suggested that exercise improved the attention, focus, and behavior of students with ADHD. Most of these studies have been done using middle school children and effects exercise has had on them. There is less available information regarding university students, presenting a research gap in knowledge. This is important because students everywhere of every age can benefit from these results and techniques. Effects of competitive hockey on mental health. One study showed that competitive hockey had a positive psychosocial effect on the mental health of the elementary age participants. An important point that was made in this article is that mental health has most often been studied in terms of the absence of depression and anxiety, neglecting positive aspects of mental health. Another study examined the effect physical exercise had on the ability to focus amongst breast cancer survivors. Now, this study used just over 300 participants, and they were all 3 to 8 years post-treatment, more specifically chemotherapy, because chemotherapy can cause cognitive defects, they found, as far as attention, working memory, and executive functioning are concerned. So they did a test, and they did a group that exercised on a regular basis for no longer than 30 minutes, and it had to be moderate intensity to get their heart rate up. And again, they came back showing that exercise was shown to improve these domains of cognitive functioning, which includes the attention, the working memory, and executive functioning. Preschoolers and exercise. So this study was a comparison of preschoolers, and there were two groups of students. There was the active group versus the non-active group. So the 30-minute bout of structured physical activity was led by an instructor, and again they got the students' heart rate up, and moderate intensity for preschoolers, of course. And then they sat the kids down and they had them almost immediately after perform this written test. And while they found that both groups took roughly the same amount of time to complete the test, they did find that the students who had exercised had fewer mistakes. So just in review here, the last few studies, we've had basically just this exactly what we're trying to prove in the study, that exercise has an effect on attention and focus. It's just different groups that these studies have gone to. So they've gone to preschoolers, breast cancer survivors, as well as young hockey players, and just showing, as well as students with ADHD, and showing the impact that exercise has on their focus. All right, now why is this important? Well, students spend thousands of dollars every year on tuition. It is important that each one gets the most out of his or her education with as little struggle as possible. Most research articles use elementary school students in their studies, or subjects with a disability or health issue of some sort. There is a need for studies that examine average university students to help them do their very best. Study design. So this is a prospective cohort study that will provide study subjects with a short weekly questionnaire that will occur 3 times per week for 4 weeks. The questionnaire will be online and inquire about their experience with exercise and their ability to focus in class post-exercise. More specifically, if they noticed a difference in their concentration level in the classroom, if it improved, if there was no improvement, or if it remained the same. Study subjects. So the inclusion criteria would involve adults over the age of 18, students attending university, because that is the group that we are examining. Participants must be physically able to exercise for a minimum of 20 minutes 3 times a week for 4 weeks. Following that, subjects must not have any health condition or issue that may prohibit them from exercising safely. Conditions such as, but not limited to, diabetes, cancer, or heart conditions. Exclusion criteria: anyone who is not a university student, a person unable to read or speak English. English is a necessity for this study because each participant needs to communicate with the examiner, and they also need to complete the online questionnaire. So number 3, any persons with a health issue, condition, or injury precluding them from exercise, as well as number 4, anyone 17 years or younger. So using any of those subjects would most certainly skew our results. Recruiting participants. So my recruitment strategy here is to place contact posters around the campus to encourage participation and promote using a reward or a draw of a $20 gift card to Tim Hortons and iTunes. And another strategy would be to go to the Student Services office and tell them about the study I am conducting regarding focus and ask them to kindly promote it. Measurements. So the main exposure variable that we'd be looking at is the 20 minutes of exercise. More specifically, at least 20 minutes of continuous moderate aerobic exercise that increases the heart rate. The main outcome variable is the improved ability to focus on lecture material. Students will be able to determine their level of focus on a Likert scale that will be provided on their questionnaire. So we're not particularly concerned with the exact heart rate or range with this study, as that would require more monitoring. Our aim is just to see the effect that exercise may have on the ability to focus in the classroom. Improved ability to focus will involve parameters such as less daydreaming, desk drumming, or fidgeting activities during class time, which are secondary components that would be addressed in the questionnaire. Statistical issues. So my hypothesis is that students who exercised for a minimum of 20 minutes prior to class will be more likely to experience greater focus and attention during class than students who did not participate in physical exercise. The null hypothesis. It is possible that students may fail to fill out their questionnaire 3 times per week, which is why the questionnaire is online, so that they can fill out one per day, only one per day. This prevents subjects from letting questionnaires pile up and completing them in one sitting. Filling out all the answers at once in attempts to remember how good their concentration was in class could cause a false positive. And false positives can also be caused by subjects wanting to be agreeable to the study or by subjects rushing through the questionnaire and may not answer properly. Analytic approach. The results will be analyzed with a t-test, which is appropriate for small studies comparing 2 populations. This will compare a group of students that participate in exercise prior to class for a minimum of 20 minutes compared to a group of students who do not exercise prior to class. The brief questionnaire will assess the student's ability to pay attention and focus in class. The plan is to examine and associate between exercise and the effect it has on the mind where focus and attention are concerned. Ethical issues. The study and questionnaire need to be approved by UOIT's Ethics Board prior to the study taking place. And finally, limitations of research or possible challenges. So firstly, participants may forget to fill out the questionnaire throughout the week, as previously mentioned, and may retrospectively fill in their answers when they submit. There could be a loss to follow-up, or participants may drop out. So the prevention I'd like to put in place is to set up the online questionnaire to have a 24-hour window to fill out answers for that day only. And that concludes my presentation. Here's a list of my resources here. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Thanks very much.